You ever get that knot in your stomach right before a big pitch, that fear of, coming off as too pushy or even worse, not being yourself? Well, today we're going to totally dismantle that feeling. We are reframing what a pitch even is, moving it away from some high pressure sales tactic into a real chance to connect and solve a problem. By the end of this, trust me, you won't just have a new framework, you're going to have a whole new mindset. So let's be real for a second. For a lot of us, the word selling, it just makes us cringe, right? It brings up these images of sleazy salespeople and aggressive tactics that just don't feel good. It's a feeling I've definitely had, and it creates this invisible wall between you and the person you're genuinely trying to help. But what if I told you that feeling, that it's actually a good sign? It means you care about being authentic, and that right there is the secret first step to a great pitch. You know that discomfort you feel? That's your internal compass screaming that there's gotta be a better way. And guess what? There is. The huge shift we're exploring today is this. A great pitch isn't about selling a thing, it's about solving a problem. It's not about pushing your agenda, it's about pulling them toward a better future that they actually want. Once you really get that, I'm telling you, everything changes. So, this whole thing kicks off with a mental reset. It's a simple but really profound shift in your intention, moving from what can I sell to how can I help. Let's break down what that really looks like in practice. Okay, take a look at this. Which of these two columns feels a little more familiar? The one on the left, that's the classic push method, right? It's all about features, stats, and a one-way monologue where you're just talking at them about how great you are. But the column on the right, that's the pull method. It's a dialogue, it's a partnership, it's a journey you go on together. It's about earning the right to offer a solution because you first took the time to deeply understand their problem. Think about the last big purchase you made. A car, a phone, maybe a vacation. Did you buy it just because of the specs on a sheet of paper? Or was it about how it made you feel? The truth is, we're emotional creatures who use logic to back up what our gut has already decided. And that's exactly why trust is the real currency of any great pitch. Without it, all your data and your features, they're just noise. So how do you build this thing called trust? It's not magic, and it's definitely not luck. It's actually a formula. And today, I'm going to give you the 3 key ingredients, the 3 A's of trust. Think of these like the 3 legs of a stool. You need all 3 for it to be stable. First, you've got to be able. This is your credibility, proving you've got the skills to do the job. Second, you have to be available. This is about reliability, showing you're responsive and actually there for them. And third, you need to be affable. This is your relatability, proving you're someone they'll genuinely enjoy working with. If one of those is missing, the whole relationship gets wobbly. All right, so now that we've laid that foundation of trust, how do we weave it into a story that actually connects? Well, the great news is we don't have to reinvent the wheel here. We can borrow a narrative structure that's as old as storytelling itself, the hero's journey. This right here, this is the golden rule of pitching. I'm going to say it again. You are not the hero. Your client is. You are Yoda. They are Luke Skywalker. You are the wise guide, the mentor who shows up with the tools and the map they need to win on their own quest. I promise you, this one shift in perspective is an absolute game changer. So what does this journey actually look like? Well, it starts with the hero. That's your client. Then comes the challenge, the big, scary dragon they need to slay. But wait, there's a twist. An unexpected obstacle jumps in their path. And that's where you, the guide, come in with the solution, the magic sword, the secret map. And finally, you wrap it all up with the celebration, the hero's triumphant return. See how this framework puts them, not you, right at the center of the entire story? But what happens if your hero gets a little nervous? What if they raise that shield of doubt? Look, objections are a natural and honestly a healthy part of the process. The key is to see them not as rejection, but as a request for more information. It's not a fight, it's a dance. Okay, the absolute first rule here, and it's non-negotiable, is to drop your defenses. Your goal isn't to win an argument. That just hurts their ego and damages the very relationship you've worked so hard to build. The real goal is to listen, to understand the real concern that's hiding behind their words, and then figure out how to solve it together. Now, let's talk about the big one, the price objection. This is where so many great pitches just fall apart. But what if I told you there's a psychological tool you can use to reframe the entire conversation? It's a cognitive bias called anchoring, and it is a super powerful way to shape perception. Okay, so how do you make this work for you? Simple. Instead of leading with your price, you start with the value. You paint this huge picture of the total, all-in solution. You talk about the return on investment. You get them thinking, what's the cost of not doing this? You want them anchored on the massive value you bring to the table. Then, and only then, after you've anchored their perception way up high to that bigger value number, do you reveal your price. And all of a sudden, your price doesn't feel like an expense anymore. It feels like an incredible deal. It's such a powerful shift in perspective that can make all the difference. And the "we'll do it next quarter" objection? That's a classic. The danger here is that their motivation is going to fade as the pain of their problem gets further away. Your job is to gently remind them of the cost of inaction. You could ask, I totally get it, but what's the real cost to you of waiting another 3 months? How much bigger will this problem get if we just let it sit? You can also create a little urgency, maybe a limited time bonus for acting now. All right, we have covered a lot of ground. Now it's time to pull it all together. This is your pitcher's playbook, the step-by-step guide to crafting a pitch that truly connects, persuades, and gets results. So, what's your mission? First, become a librarian of your client's successes. Start collecting those hero stories. Second, become a detective. Go out and uncover the real, human problems your clients are facing. Third, become a master storyteller. Show, don't just tell, the impact you can make. Fourth, become a chess master. Think 3 moves ahead and have your responses ready for those objections. And finally, become a lifelong student. Every single pitch is a chance to learn something new. Because at the end of the day, you can watch all the explainers in the world, you can read all the books, but nothing, and I mean nothing, beats real-world experience. You have to be willing to get out there, to be a little vulnerable, to fail, and to get back up again. That is where the real learning happens. That's where you'll find your voice and your unshakable confidence. So I'll just leave you with this. Whose life are you going to change? What problem are you uniquely positioned to solve? The world is waiting for your story. Now go out there and tell it.